Flapping around the Grimbus trunk, I don't wanna sing the song. Cheryl, please stop dating my dad, you'll never be my mom. Oh, I need to turn off the audio recording. Always check your audio output, kids. I hope you enjoyed that 4-chord rendition of Megalovania. I can delete this now. So I guess I'm going to be going over some stuff. Gotta pull up notes. So where do I begin? So this song, Hourglass, I'm going to be going through this in order of when I wrote them, or yeah. So this song started as an idea I had like a year ago, but it was basically just like the chorus. The whole idea that I had was the chorus, and so then I just started making it, and I was like, yeah, I'll make an EP, I guess. So like that's the intro and instrumental for the chorus. So I guess I'll go over drums real quick. So what I did with the drums for all of the songs was, if you ignore this for a moment, I have this free plugin called Labs by Spitfire. And so like I have that going. I think it kind of sounds wimpy on its own, like if you listen to that. So I basically took samples from Bitwig Studio, which is what I'm using right now, and layered those for every song on this EP. Just to give it a little bit more audibility in the rest of the mix. And then I got one little suggestion about bringing up the snare in the mix a little bit, so I just copied only the snare and doubled it, so it just gives more to it. So if you listen, it's just a little bit louder, and then so there's that. That's the drums. That's what I did with all the drums. Pretty much just layered the same sounds over each other. Pretended it was a drum kit. By the way, none of this is advice. This is just what I did. Don't take everything I say with a grain of salt, especially when it comes to rhythm guitar, because it's kind of a mess, if you can see. So basically what I did here was I double tracked guitars, which is what these first two are. I panned them all the way left and all the way right, which, that's just a pretty standard thing as far as I know. EQ'd them opposite to each other a little bit. But here's the weird thing I did. I'm not sure why I did this, but I took out all of this this range of frequencies and then just brought it back with this, but it's all reverbed out. So here's just the guitars on their own. So I took out a lot of I think the fuzziest bits, and then I just gave them a little bit more reverb and put them back in different tracks. So it's not sure why I did that, but together it sounds like this. And then on top of that, I threw in these clean tracks. I just copied the same double tracking I did earlier, and then just the full direct input. I think there's a bit of an amp thing going on, but it's for the most part clean. So altogether it just so you may notice that doesn't really sound very heavy on its own. And you know, I like me some heavy music, I guess. And this is the first idea that I feel like I really took inspiration from another artist. Because there's this band I listen to called Haken. They're great. Much better at music than I am. But they just like I was listening to this song called Puzzle Box, and I was like, man, that guitar sounds really cool and like kind of like a synth. And then I realized like, oh, it's probably actually just a synth because they have a synth guy in the band. So I made this synth to just go underneath the guitars, and it's all like really kind of bassy and stuff. So if you like, it just kind of adds that beef that a bass guitar might normally use, and then with the bass I just kind of like did whatever with that. I guess I can go into what I did with the bass. I think I did this on every song. We'll see. So what I did was I just like I did one bass track, but I copied it, so I have two of them. One of them is clean, and you know, EQ'd to get some of that like natural, more kind of bass stuff. And then I have a not clean track, and then I just put them together so you get kind of like the gross bass along with the clean bass. It's much more dirty in this song, but there are some where it's more clean than the other. But I pretty much did that with every bass track, bass guitar. So yeah. The lead guitar is just playing some kind of tapping riff. And then I found this like free wah effect called Wah Man. Yeah, but I like the lead guitar in this song. It's fine. I got an amp going, some reverb, stuff. For the vocals, you may notice this little like bit at the beginning. Oh, that it went quiet. Okay. Please don't. Ah, come on. Okay. I'm an idiot. Yeah, there's just like a little bit of rustling sound at the very beginning, because I set up like this whole track. I pretty much, before I had any of the vocals written, I just kind of like would improv a tune to the song with just like this scratch track, so I could like get a feel for what I wanted the melody to be. And I kept the track because it had this little rustling at the beginning. And I was like, I figure that's more interesting than just starting off with like blasting your ears out. So you get a fair bit of warning before it like goes. And then I, recorded vocals like a normal person later on. Maybe not like a normal person. I'll talk about that later though. At the what was I going to talk about? I'm reading my notes right now. Okay, the only thing in my notes that I haven't covered yet is the guitar solo, which, like, it's a guitar solo. I don't really like guitar solos. I've never written one. This is the first one I've ever played, and of course I did it in 7/8. Made it harder on myself. I'm proud of myself in one respect because, like, I only made a couple cuts in it, and that was only because this part right here was a mistake that I decided to keep because I liked it better than what I'd written. But I didn't know if I could reproduce it. So just to save time, I just, made a cut here and yeah. So, and then later on I really like this guitar part that comes in here. Let me just like it's kind of playing the riff from before. And actually, you may notice this riff here. that was the first instance of that like kind of melody or something. But I kept that melody and threw it in every song on the CP and just called it a motif. So like it's the theme of the album in quotes, because I was like, hey, why not? Because I like motifs. So I was like, yeah, that's the thing that I'm gonna throw in, and I'll show you where I put it because I kind of sneak it by you. I think I don't feel like people would notice certain instances of it, so I'll point it out every time just because I think I'm smart. I have this one piano bit at the end, just kind of adds a little bit of bit of an epicness to it. Like if you had play the rest of this, it's just like, actually, I'm gonna mute the vocals here. And then with the piano, it's like, you can barely hear it, but I think it just adds just a tiny bit more of what I wanted. On to the next song. So this is, first off, while this is loading, I can tell you that this thing, I made the tempo way too slow for me apparently, and I cannot play to a metronome. So I have like a faster version of the click track because I just like I made my own click and played it to that because I'm bad at this. So yeah, that was what I did with that. I'm gonna mute that. This song started as I wanted to write a Circus Survive song, which like I may or may not have succeeded, but I was particularly listening to the Amulet a lot before I wrote this song. The song, not the album, but maybe the album. And I noticed that like they kind of just, it's just like a really solid bass and rhythm section, like nothing incredibly fancy all the time, but the guitars are always like, it's like two guitars just kind of like doing their own thing, all like reverbed out and stuff. So when I wrote this song, I pretty much all I had was this. I just like a really slow drum and bass groove. But I had a chord progression, I had a chorus, I had a verse, two verses actually. Pretty much the whole song up until this point down here was just that drum and bass, and then not the genre, but I was like, well, time to write the guitars. And this was a long process because I was basically pretending to be two guitar players at once. And so I would write one bit for guitar, and then I would like kind of make a response to that would extend beyond the first one, and then they would kind of leapfrog over each other. And so it's just like, and I didn't re-record most of this because I just got really attached to the little mistakes that I made. It's kind of weird how that happens, but like I pretty much kept it the same as when I first wrote it. So like that's what those guitars are. Yeah, so I can talk about the vocals here. I didn't delete these tracks here because I guess it showcases that, not all of this was in one take. Clearly, you can see that. But a lot of the takes that I did were long takes. Like I did the whole first verse in one go, but 4 times. And that's pretty much how I recorded a lot of this. Was like I would sing a fairly long section, but like do it multiple times, and then I would just kind of like take the bits that I thought were the best and stick them all together. And that's how I did like the vocal process, because that's, I don't know, it just seemed the most intuitive with how this program is. I think there are probably most definitely other software that lets you do that like much better. Because this has a way to do takes, but it's like really convoluted to me, so that's what I did. I've got some harmony and stuff, you know. The piano on this song, I was originally not going to do a real piano, but then I was like, actually, no, I am. So I recorded the piano that I, grew up playing since, birth. It's because, like, I still live with my parents. But I used that piano. I just felt like it was fitting. But it's just like, it's got the... At the very beginning, what I did there was I played that first chord at the big, like, piano part. I played that first chord with the sostinato pedal, if that's what it's called. And then I just kind of, like, repeated it, like, because it gives kind of a different sustain sound than the sustain pedal. It's kind of like less somehow, more ethereal in my opinion. So I just kind of like repeated that, panned it to the left and right a bit, and so that's what the sound in the beginning is. And so the way I recorded the piano was, well, this swell that I had leading up to it was just like one piano hit that I did, but I just reversed it. So it's just, it just kind of swells into it. With the other instruments, I reversed the bass as well. The guitars, though, I just kind of repeated this one bit, but then like had it fade out in the volume slider and then come back in. The way I recorded this piano was, I believe this top track here was up close to like the bottom of the piano, because it's an upright. It was like up close to it. It's like the main recording of it. And this one, I put the mic like much further away in the room, so it's like a bit more ambient. This one, I put a little bit closer, but on the other side of the piano to get more of the low end, and I didn't play it with a pedal on this one. Because I wanted to be able to hear the left hand a bit more. And then I, panned them a bit, EQ'd a little bit, and altogether it's just... sounds much better than just a singular recording. And then like when all the other instruments hit at this point, I'm gonna mute the vocals. You can still hear the piano, but I turn on a different EQ. So like what's actually happening here is it goes normal, then say goodbye to the low end, It's just like it just kind of takes it, back in the mix a little bit, so it gives the other instruments room to breathe. So it's just... and yeah, that's pretty much what I did for this song. It wasn't like... I'd say it's probably the least complicated song on this whole EP, but it took the longest to write, I think. Well, actually, maybe not. I felt like it was difficult to write because, I don't know, it just felt more personal in a way. Not only musically, but lyrically. At the very end of this song, I kind of like... you can hear me getting up from the piano bench. I wasn't originally going to keep that in, but I was like, I don't know, it just feels more organic that way. And a lot of this EP is not organic. so I was like, it just doesn't feel real sometimes. On to the next one. So this is the weirdest song on the album, maybe. So you may notice, first off, there are a lot of time signature changes. They don't really have a pattern to them at most points. But I counted this the other day, and it's around 60 time changes, and I just wanted to. This means nothing. I just think it's funny. So yeah, for this song as well, I had the makeshift click, different sound. It's not a preset. I just kind of would modify things as I saw fit. So I guess I'll go top down from the guitars. What did I do with the guitars? So for the intro riff, I just played it once, didn't double track that, but for the rest of the song it's all double tracked. So you'll hear little discrepancies every now and then between the ears, but they kind of cover up for each other's mistakes, which is, I guess, why people double track. I have these guitars. They only show up every now and then. This is the only song where I used them, but I have these impulse response things. Like, you can Google what that means. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's just like a virtual kind of amp thing. And I noticed this yesterday when I failed to do this. This track does not have an impulse response, and I thought it did, but it doesn't. But that's fine. I don't know. When I saw that, I was like, am I stupid? I don't know what happened. This song originally started as a few ideas from this. Let's see, where is it? This part. Nope, not that part. This part. That part, in tandem with this part. So that part, I guess this whole part, this whole part leading into it was also the thing I had, but I just kind of mushed the ideas together. And then I had this riff that I've been playing on guitar for a while. I just hadn't used it yet. And that was this riff. And so I had a crap ton of stuff that I just threw on top of this. Oh shoot, I forgot about something. Going back to black. Don't flame me for the title of this song. I forgot to show you where I snuck in the motif. So at the very beginning of the song, you will hear it. There it is. And that's where I snuck it in. But wait, there's more. I also it's in the beginning of the chorus as well. I'm particularly proud of that one because it's going across the two guitars. Not one guitar is playing both at the same time. It's just, oh man. But when you play them together, they play it. I just think that's neat. So that's where I snuck in that motif. I'm sure I'll remember it for this one. It's probably going to be the last thing I go into though. This, I guess the next thing I would want to talk about in this song is there's a fair bit of acoustic guitar on this. And it was kind of inspired by this song by Thrice. Covered by Thrice, called The Earth Isn't Humming. And they did like an acoustic rendition of this song, and it's very rhythmic. And so I was like, I want to do something rhythmic with acoustic, that, like on top of an electric sound. So like at this part, so I got that going with the distorted guitar. So it's just like, it sounds pretty cool. I've got the got it out here too, and here, and this part, and this part is just like, it's got like the just kind of finger picking thing. So like that's more standard for what I normally would write for an acoustic guitar. I did the vocals a little bit differently on this. And by that, I mean there's just distortion on it. You can look back and stay that way. I did use it distortion briefly in Hourglass at the part where I scream, because that's fun. But yeah, there's just like some subtle distortion happening until you get to, you know, that part where I'm just like yelling. To survive this. And this whole part was just an excuse for me to use this plugin called Tree Monster. It's built into the whole. It's built into Bitwig. I wasn't sure what it did before I started using it. I just really wanted an excuse to use it because it's called Tree Monster. But that's the thing that you'll hear going, like making blippy sounds, like distorting it all. So it's like, let's see if I can turn it up. Yeah, so that's what Tree Monster does. I just really wanted an excuse to use it. Yeah, and like I would just turn up the distortion at certain parts in this song, and that's pretty much what I would do. I also have this plugin going on. This is pretty much the only thing I did to process my vocals. I got it free in this sale where if I bought other stuff, I would get it. I was like, why not use it? It actually helps. I wasn't expecting it. But yeah, I pretty much was lazy and only threw that instead of any actual like manual EQ, because I don't actually know how to EQ vocals, but this works well enough for me to be audible, so I did that. I also, you know, compression helps. Let's see, what else am I going to talk about? Another thing about vocals, I guess, is this harmony right here. The "Can we get away?" Yeah, that part. I like that harmony, but it kind of was mushed together when I played it in mono. Like if you play it in mono, it's just like, "Can we get away?" Okay, maybe not. We'll try that again. But yeah, basically I just kind of like EQ'd them a bit, not a whole lot, and then I panned them. Like this one's more right. Can we get? This one's more left. Can we get away? And then this one, I guess, is up. Can we get away? Yeah, up the center. So yeah, I just kind of like, you can't hear the individual parts of it very well, but I tried. So there's that. Hold on, okay, I didn't. No worries. Yeah. What was I gonna do? Okay, this part. I'll go back to the first one. So like this part. So like that was an idea that I had to go along with this song, but I didn't realize that like I would change the tempo when I did it. And I was like, I really don't like it going at the same tempo as the rest of the song. So I'm going to slow it down in the song. And, you know, a normal person might just change the tempo. I changed the time signature to 5/4 and did tuplets of 4 on top of it, which I guess is quartuplets, which is, man, like it's either really smart or really dumb. I can't really tell because I was the one who did it. But if you can see, like, I had to quantize this to the 30-second note because it's, where is this part? I don't know where it is. Hold on. I hate that. Okay, hold on. There it is. There's my guy. Yeah, because like doing quartuplets in this like is a, I mean, I imagine it's much more complicated in certain things than what I normally use, which is MuseScore, because that's just sheet music where it's easier to conceptualize stuff like that. But I had to like really go deep to get this in the drums. Wait a minute. Did I have to go even further? Let's see. Okay, no, wait. I think I'm just being stupid. So yeah, that's what I did for that part. It is kind of weird, but I did it anyway. And then this part is just like regular 5/4. No quartuplets here. No, don't worry about that. I have this nice guitar part that I like a lot. This clean track here is a bit of a misnomer because it's actually less clean. But I layered it with this to give it more like, I don't know, just sounds better when you layer things. That's the best I can tell you. I also layered the clean with these parts. Whoops. And I think this is probably the coolest guitar riff well, not a riff, but guitar part I've written. Yeah. Oh man, it's so cool. I just think it's the best guitar part I've written, you know? There's nothing big about it. The acoustic guitar here, this is where I panned it. For the rest of the song, it's just up the middle, but I pan it and bring down the left ear of this guitar so you can kind of hear both at once. Oh yeah, and I also have like this tremolo picked part. Just kind of going on in the background, because why not? And I'm pretty proud of this piano bit here. I don't know what I was doing. Okay, so like this is what I did for like this cool sound here. As you can probably guess, I just reversed it. I chopped it up a little bit to get the timing the way I wanted it, but I basically just like have the same thing on the one going forward as the one going backwards, the same effects, which is a delay that I made with reverb on it. But the delay is cool. So let me talk about the delay. Basically what the delay is doing is it's going to like, it does the first delay, which is up the middle. That delay sends it to the second one where it's panned completely to the right. And then that one sends it to the third one, which is panned completely to the left. And then they go back and forth between the second and third one. So it's just like, it goes like back and forth, back and forth. So it sounds all twinkly and stuff. And so that's basically just how I did that. You know, just... That was cool. Then this piano part out here, this is where I did the like the more subdued part, I guess. This is where I sneak in the motif. So if you notice in the left hand of this part, there it is. And then this piano, this isn't actually doing anything, but this piano is a different piano. It's also doing it, but it's really, really delay heavy. So it's just kind of like all mushy. And just thought it sounded interesting, so I put it in. Also at this part, this is like the so I just want to like give you context for that. I wrote this piano part, and like if you listen closely, which I mean you may not actually have to listen closely, but I put the left hand is playing the first guitar riff in the entire song. So like it's playing it's playing that part out here. But the left hand is doing the guitar riff here. Which the piano part actually came before that second guitar riff. Because I was just playing the first guitar riff on the piano. I was like, what if I added the left hand to it? And so I took the left hand and separated it from the rest of the riff and put it in the song. So like you get them separately, and then at the very end you kind of get this payoff where you hear them both together. And so that's what I did there. I snuck in the motif one more time in this song. It's kind of hard to catch because it's not in the same cadence, but it's right here. I'll just solo the guitar here. So that's where it is. It's kind of sneaky, I think. But it's, it's just the like, and then followed by the nope. So if you kind of like play it like this, it's like, so like you can kind of hear it better if I do something more like that. But that's where I put in that. Let's see. I think that's all for this song in particular. So it's time to talk about the last song I wrote, which is the first song on the EP, chronologically. Let's see, did I put any weird... Oh boy. I just forgot. Yeah, I'm going to talk about the master track first. So pretty much for every song on this EP, all I had was like, I got Spectrum Analyzer, which is, just playing that's just like the whole frequency spectrum. At the very end of the song, I have this like bit crusher thing. But that's only on this song, and you'll hear it in like the. So that's cool. Just thought it would be cool to glitch out the ending a bit. And then, peak limiter. I have a peak limiter, and I put it on the... So basically what that's doing is it's like... I need to stop cutting off my sentences by playing music. But it's basically just keeping everything below a certain threshold so it doesn't clip at all. The audio is all good. So just like found a decent place where it like was loud but not too loud. And then I have this this nice guy right here. This is something that I actually paid for. Most of the stuff I use on this is freeware, but I actually got this in a sale during like Black Friday or Christmas or whatever. I don't remember. But it's an EQ plugin, but it has a preset on it called Mix Tightener. And I just kind of like was like, well, what if I threw this on it? And I did. And it sounds like if you just it makes things different somehow. If you'll just like listen to it, this part without the EQ at all. And then with the EQ turned on, so I'm just gonna like, I'll play this part right here, like just turning it off and on just to show you what it does. So I think the biggest difference it makes is that it's really taken out a bit of that low end and just like brings up the high end. It's just like, it feels more lively somehow. And you can still hear the low end, which is nice. Like it just feels muffled when you turn it off. And like when I first did that, I was just like, whoa, I don't need to do anything more. And so I didn't. I probably should have, but I didn't. So yeah, this one's a doozy. Because for some reason I was like, 9/8 sounds like a good idea. And I did it, and that's the whole song is in that. But like I pretty much had no idea what I was going to do for this song. Except for the fact that, and if you just give me 1 second, the only idea I had for this song was A, it was going to be in 9/8, and B, it would use this weird, what's it called? Chord progression. That's it. I just wanted to use this chord progression, which is like, it's kind of weird, but it's just like, let me just play it. Wait, hold on. The drums are recording. Why are you recording? Let's try that again. And that was the chord progression. It's weird. It's just like going like C sharp minor to like C augmented major. It's not like that like crazy of a change, but I don't know. It was just like weird enough for me to be like, yeah, I'll do that. I started off with this choir doing that chord progression. It's not a choir, it's just me. Movie magic. But like it's a 7-part harmony, but like a bunch of these are just doing the same note but octaves below. So you got your high one, you got your less high one, the other one. Yeah, I don't know. It's just me. And I was like, this is a really kind of a cheesy way to start it off, but it is fine. And so like this like whole first section, I guess I can talk about what the synths are doing here. So this is Blue Moon. This is just a preset synth that I really liked for this particular song. It's just giving like a kind of a bed of organ chords. This is a free plugin that's like one of those steel hand drum things. I don't know, but it gives that kind of like little bitty progressive thing. And then I have this guy. I modified it a little bit so it was playing less notes than I wanted it to. But I just wanted like a little, like kind of a sub bass, like whoop, 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 whoop. That was funny. Yeah, so that's what I did for that part specifically with the synths. I also have like a harp doing that. the guitars are playing the chord progression, and then the bass is doing this. I wish that I had re-recorded the bass, because what, I don't know. It's just like it's a little bit off in terms of timing at this part. I'm not sure why that is, but it was just a bit off. But this whole part up to like here was pretty much just like I wrote that, and then the rest of the song I wrote like 3 months later. So what happened is that I had bought new bass strings when I recorded the first part, and so it sounds really nice. New strings, love it. The rest of the song, the strings are less new. Like, which sounds fine, but it wasn't the same. So I didn't re-record this. And you could say like, oh, why didn't you get new bass strings? And to that I say, I'm lazy. So that's that. I just didn't want to do it. And so, yeah. There's another funny thing about this song, which is, it's a dumb thing. I accidentally changed the key of this song. I did not do it on purpose. So like here it's C sharp minor, because that's where it starts on, you know, you got your like do do do, you know. And then at this point it's a different key. I changed the key to, I believe it was just C minor. And that's because I down tune my guitars a half step. And I forgot that I do this, I guess. I don't know. What I do is like, I don't do it to my bass. My bass I just tune to standard. But with my guitar, I always tune to E flat standard. I'm not sure why I do that, but I do anyway. And so like I forgot that, like I was like, when I was writing this second part of the song, I was like, well, it's C sharp minor, so I'll be playing like using this as C sharp minor. But I forgot that the fourth fret on the A string of a guitar, when you down tune a half step, that's just C, not C sharp. So I was playing in C when I was writing the second part. I didn't notice until I like put it together, and I was like, I'm in C sharp here, and in here I'm in C sharp. I mean just C minor. So I kept it anyway. I changed the key. It's fine. No worries. Like the guitar part in here, not here. Here is playing basically the same thing as the bass here, but it's a different key. It's just what I did. Yeah. So like the choir thing I have going on here, I double tracked. It's a 4-part harmony where like I this note up here, Black Fox do Blue Moon. I made the chord progression here. Well, you know, I just thought it sounded really nice. So I was like, what if I did that with the choir? And so that's what the note was for. But I double tracked this 4-part harmony. Each part is double tracked and, you know, panned a little bit. So you got your, and you put them together and you got an ooh. And all together it's just like, ah man, it just sounds really nice to double track things. I mean, I can't explain why. It just is. It sounds real nice. Let's see. Oh, I have a note in my document that says recorder LOL. So, so I guess I need to talk about this. I played my recorder for this song. I have, just like an Applewood recorder hanging on my wall. I don't really use it, but I was like, I'm going to. So I did. The thing about that is I had to auto-tune it. It's using it's using this guy here. It's another freeware thing, but if you want to hear what that sounds like without the auto-tune, oh god, it's terrible. It's absolutely disgusting. I just, I have a bunch of reverb and delay, put some distortion on it, to smooth it out, kind of. But man, does it really need that autotune to hold together? Oh god, it's so bad. Yeah. I have one other instance in future projects where I might use it, but never again. Outside of that time where I will again, never again. It's not. I don't play recorder. I'm not good at it. I don't know if it's my fault or not, but it could be the recorder. It's probably not. It's probably just me being bad at it. I just don't know how wind instruments work. This is piano that I did. This is basically just what's making that weird ethereal noise. And the thing is with that, I just use this amp preset called Amp Drone Reverb, and it just makes everything sound incredible. Because if you listen to it without this, it's just kind of me doing like little tinklies on the piano. Ah, god, that was terrible. Let's never say that again. Again, you can barely hear it. But that's just what I'm doing. But I just turn on this amp, and it's amazing. It just sounds so cool. And then like I didn't even re-record it for the key change where it makes the transition. I just had a pitch shift. I pitch shifted it down. Cause man, it's just a pain to record things sometimes. So let's talk about this part. So I made this synth. Well, I didn't make it, but I kind of did, like from scratch a little bit. Let's pull it up. It's just like I did some sound design for this. And this is like, it just sounds disgusting and I love it. So that's doing that. I have this like electric keyboard thing going, like doing that. So that's just, the extra synths that I had on top of this. The guitars, I was like, hey, what if the guitars didn't sound like guitars? So that's what you get. I was like, what? I just really wanted the guitars to sound like actual synths instead of like on Hourglass, where I was like, I'm just gonna use a synth to make the guitars sound like that. So like that's what those guitars are. The bass is doing its typical thing. Not much to talk about with the bass, at least anymore. Rest in peace, New Strings. But yeah, so like I think the way I came up with this rhythm was interesting, because I was in the shower and I was like thinking about this song, and I was like, I should do this rhythm for it. And then I got out of the shower and was immediately just like in my room drawing on my whiteboard this thing that like it looked like insane like chicken scratch of a crazy person. And I really could have written it in a way that was more understandable, but at least I understood it the way I did it. But like the easiest way I can explain this is like, so I repeat it here. So I'll talk about it. I'm gonna mute the vocals there so you can hear it. But what I did for the rhythm on this part is like a 4 measure pattern, kind of, where it goes the first measure is group of 2, group of 2, group of 3, group of 2, which adds up to 9, if I'm doing my math correctly. So if you listen to it, it's just like 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2, and then the next measure is just like 3 groups of 3. So it's like 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, and then the next measure is a group of 3 2 3 then 1. So it goes 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, and so that's the pattern. So it's just like it's 2 2 3 2, then 3 3 3, and then 3 2 3 1 3 3 3. And I felt like that was a pretty cool pattern. So I did it, and it was cool. I pretty much didn't do anything to the clean guitars here, so it sounds kind of wimpy on its own. But they're kind of, they're doing their thing. For this part, I just kind of like played them opposite each other, just the same chords, but like trading off. Gave kind of an interesting effect with the rest of the guitars. Yeah. The harmony in this part, I really like the harmonies. And I'm using this opportunity to talk about them because I think they're good. But you kind of miss out on them like when it's in the rest of the mix. So just, but like I'm just gonna solo it out and play it for you because my favorite one is in like the end. Yeah, it's pretty standard at this point. Keep trying. Then this one is really satisfying. We always knew. And like I just, it sounds fine, but you can't really like, I don't know. It sounds nice on its own, I think. I like it a lot. What else is interesting about this song? So this part, this is kind of like a medley of the rest of the EP, where like I kind of have 4 characters going at once. And so like the first one is this guy. That's the melody of like a part in the last song, Black. It also rhymes with that line in Black that is the same melody. It's like leave me here, believe me dear. I don't know. And then this part, That part's at the end of Hourglass when it's like, I don't, care to bear with it. I don't want to recite my lyrics for you. But like that part's in Hourglass, and the next part that overlaps with it, it's probably the most obvious one, but that one is in Wheel. And the last one is also in Wheel. It's like the 5/4 part in near the end of the Wheel, but like the Wheel kind of covers two characters, so that's why. But yeah, like this final part is just like solely written to be a medley of like the rest of the EP, which is like probably the last thing that I knew I wanted from this song when I wrote it, like before I wrote it actually. So like there you have it. It's like the three things was like the weird chord progression. It's in 9/8 and it has a medley, and that's pretty much all it was. I feel like in a way this song isn't its own song because a good portion of it, like a good, how much is that? Like a good minute at the end is not even like its own ideas as much as it is like the songs that come after it. But that's fine if you like the song. I don't care. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something about it. Yeah, that's why that's why it was the last song that I wrote, because I knew I wanted it to incorporate all the elements from each of the songs after it. So I had to write the other songs first so I could decide which parts went into it. And then at the very end, and this is the moment I'm sure you're all waiting for. You will hear it. It's the motif again. I played it in the left guitar here. It's the first appearance chronologically on the EP, but it was the last instance of me writing it into a song. And I just, it's kind of like a glimpse of things to come, this whole song. Just like got this part that I have the electric keys playing that part at this point. And, bass is doing its thing. And that's pretty much like the song. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. I don't think there's anything else that I really wanted to go over. Because my notes actually didn't encompass everything that I talked about. Because I'm looking at it and I'm like, I didn't write that in my notes. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I might have thought about one time talking about at the beginning of the Wheel where I'm like whispering into the microphone. I wasn't whispering directly into the microphone because you kept getting like mouth sounds, which I just you just like hear the inside of my mouth if I'm going directly into it, which you're probably going to get a lot of this recording because boy am I up on that mic. Other than that, it's nothing much else to talk about. I feel like in some places I was too close to the mic, like this song. I should have re-recorded that. But there was a point that I hit on this whole project where I was like, I just have to get it done. And like continuing to tweak little things, being a perfectionist is not going to do me any favors on like actually improving at making music, because that's all this ever really began. Was that was a weird way to begin the sentence, but it, like, the whole point of me making this in the first place was to just like to get some exercise with it, like just kind of to get more of a feel for how to do these things and to improve on it. So it was never meant to be perfect. So why was I trying to make it perfect? And so I was finally just like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna release it. And I did. And it's out there and you can listen to it. So that's pretty much all I have.